Okay, this is the last video for the final exam practice 1. We're going to do pages or problems 8, 9, and 10. So in here we are going to follow the code, and so you have K, which is J is 1 and K is 1. And so K is going to be assigned the increment of J. So because the incrementation is before the variable, you increment the J first. Then you assign the J to K. Well, J is now 2, not 1, so K is assigned 2. The next line says we're going to take J, which is 2, and we're going to add it to the incrementation of K. So again, increment first, use K later. So we're going to increment for K first, and that becomes 3. And so now we've incremented, so 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 is now assigned to J. The next line down, K is just incremented. And then the next line down is going to increment K again. These are exactly the same because there's no other operators in the problems. The next line is K is going to be added. K, which is now 5, is going to be added to J. Now, is it J or the increment of J? Well, since the variable comes before the incrementation, then we are going to use J before it gets incremented. You've got to use J before it gets incremented because it comes before the incrementation operator. So J is now 5 before it gets incremented. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So K is assigned to be 10. And now that we've used J, so we've used it, now we increment it. And so J becomes 6. The next line is we're going to take J, which is right now 6, and we're going to multiply it times K. Now K, it says increment after using K. Well, so K is 10. So we're going to multiply first, get 60, and assign that to J. So now that we've multiplied and assigned, now we can increment K. So now we're going to do this because it's the last thing it says to do. And so K is now 11. And we're done with number 8. So we go to number 9. Number 9, the key thing here is to remember an int divided by an int is an int. So 5 divided by 3 is 1. That's it. No decimals. 8 and 5 are both ints. This is the remainder of 8 divided by 5. So 8 divided by 5. 5 goes into 8 one time, and if you do the long division method here, you have a remainder of 3. So the modulus is asking for the remainder of the division problem. So that's why it's 3. 7 and 9. There are two ints. The answer has to be an int. 7 goes into 9. I'm sorry, 9 goes into 7 no times. 0 times. D, 12 modulus 2. So 12 divided by 2. We're looking for the remainder of the division problem. So remember, you're going to take the division problem, you just go in the same order, 12 divided by 2, and then find its remainder, not its division or its quotient. So the 2 goes into 12 6 times and has nothing left over. It has nothing left over, no remainder. The next one is an int divided by a double. So because one of these, just one has to be a decimal. It's all, if you have both, of course it's obvious, but here it's going to be a decimal. So when you divide 15 by 2.0, then you have to, this would be like whatever the calculator says, because there's a decimal. So it goes in 7 times, and then you would continue on with the dividing and use a decimal. And so it's 7.5, and we want the decimal because one of the operands is a decimal. The next one again has one of the operands as a decimal. 15 divided by 4 is 3.75. So if you were to do that in the calculator, and you would use it. Where up here, if you use the calculator, you would only, up here, if you use the calculator, you would only use the integer, not the decimal. Okay, the last one shows the difference between this and this, where this has a decimal and, this has a decimal and this does not. An int 15 divided by int 4 is going to be 3 point something, but because the answer has to be an int, we just keep the 3. Okay, so that shows the difference that happens here. All right, the next problem. Number 10. We're following the code here. So B is going to be find the remainder of B divided by A. B is 7 and A is 5. So we're going to find the remainder of this division problem. 5 goes into 7 once. Has a remainder of 2. So B modulus A is 2, which gets assigned now to B. So B changes to 2. And then the next line says A divided by 5, or B, and then assigned to A. A is 5 and B is 2. And so A divided by 2 is 2. Now we don't have to do the decimal because this is an int divided by an int. The answer has to be an int. So A is now assigned 2. And we're done.